What's up, cuties? Welcome to Chit Chat with QT. Join me as I discuss hot topics, celebrity news and gossip, reality TV show recaps, and more. Everything that I discuss are my own personal opinions for entertainment purposes only. Now, before I get started, please make sure to like the video, hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and sit back and enjoy. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for another video. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And that way you'll know when I drop future videos. I will be going live about this case in the next coming days. And I hope you guys all come back and click the link so you can give me your thoughts. But you see the thumbnail on the screen. Holly Johnson is 7 weeks pregnant. And the judge did not care at all. He kept her right there in jail, no bond at all. Her next court appearance will be December 23rd. And look, the judge was pissed about something that we've all been pissed about since this unfortunate tragedy happened to Romika Meeks. Reports were going around back in September that Holly and Carlos fist bumped each other. That was brought up in court today, and that is one of the main reasons, according to Tia Ewing of Fox 32 Chicago, that there was no bond that was set. Another thing that was brought up in court today is Holly shot once, there was a pause, and then she let loose and continue to shoot Romika several times. That was another reason why no bond was set. Lastly, and then I'm going to show you guys what Tia had to say, the reporter. She is reading from the actual documents from court today, and we're going to react together. It's going to be my first look at it. But another thing that came out, we heard about these restraining orders that Holly had on Romika Meeks. Romika was never served, and Holly's family felt like that was all a setup. Let me go ahead and file these papers. That way, when I do unalive her, I'm going to be protected. And sorry to that lady, but no, ma'am, your ass is staying right there. Okay, but let's go ahead and react together to Fox 32 News's reporter Tia Ewing. Again, she will be reading off of the actual documents, and she said that all of this is facts. I do want to say this is covered under the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, and everything, even though I believe Tia, is alleged. Let's go ahead and take a look and a listen.
I'm going to actually read you the allegations that essentially the state has against against Cuties Johnson in the alleged killing of Romika Blackman. And I think it's important to read this. It also helps me be able to tell my story. There's a lot of sad information coming out of it. I mean, now that I've had time to sit back and actually read this, if you watched my live earlier, that live was okay, but these are actually concrete facts that I've had a chance to digest that I did not know prior to that live. So give me a second.
I can't wait to hear this.
Okay, so I'll start out with this document first. And we're gonna get to all of that. And I may not answer your questions because for the sake of timing, I do have to write something for the fourth action. But okay, so in this case, D and D, victim being Romika, D being Johnson. So I'll just alternate the names. So Cuties Johnson and Romika Blackman each have a child with witness 1 in this case. All 3 parties got into a dispute near a school. Johnson threatened Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses. Johnson then retrieved a handgun, shot Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses. This is according to the Cook County. This was filed for the murder charge, the first-degree murder charge. So again, Johnson threatened Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses. Johnson then retrieved a handgun, shot Blackman multiple times in front of witnesses, and then we know, sadly, Blackman died. Johnson murdered Blackman after Blackman had just dropped her child off at school. Johnson celebrated the murder immediately after. Johnson was undeterred by the presence of witnesses, public setting, broad light near a school, and near many children.
Did you guys hear that? She celebrated immediately after, and that is what that fist bump is. Celebrating with the baby daddy, Carlos. Let's continue.
Multiple civilian calls to 911 before and after the murder. It basically goes on to say that she deserves to be held behind bars because clearly she doesn't care about the harm, and based on the previous circumstance that happened, nothing would stop her, is essentially what it says. Now, this is what the court is alleging. Now, this is a 3-page document of all of the facts from the court. So it says, witness 1 has a 6-month-old child in common with Johnson, as well as a 6-year-old child in common with Blackman, the victim. In December 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no contact order against the victim, alleging that the victim made verbal threats to the defendant through the defendant's family members. The defendant in this case, let's go back. So in December 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no contact order against, so that means that Johnson sought that stalking no contact order against Romika, alleging that Romika made that verbal threats to her through Johnson's family members. Johnson did not allege that Blackman committed any acts of violence against her. The order of protection was granted in July of 2025, but was never served on the victim. I think I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. On September 8th of 2025, just before 8:30 in the morning, witness 1 drove his black Mercedes SUV from his home located on South State Street. So this is the father in all of this, to the location of 20 West Cermak. Johnson was seated in the front passenger seat, and the 6-month-old child was in the rear. So the child was present through all of this, Johnson's child, in the removable car seat of the Mercedes. The defendant was dressed in a black jacket, that being Johnson, with green leggings. The father double parked his Mercedes on Cermak, 2 car lengths in front of Johnson's black Chevy Cruze. Johnson and the father of their child then removed their child from the Mercedes and walked towards Johnson's Chevy and loaded the child into Johnson's vehicle. At approximately the same time, the victim drove her white Kia sedan to a school located nearby. The victim was dressed in a light pink outfit. She dropped her 6-year-old son off at school and then drove to where Johnson's Chevy and the father of their child was parked on Cermak. Romika double parked her Kia on Cermak behind the father's Mercedes and got out, while Johnson stood outside her car. At this time, witness 2, who does not know any of the parties, so a witness on the street, drove past Romika, Johnson, and the father, observing that Johnson and Romika standing in the street arguing, but unable to hear exactly what was being said. This person observed the father standing in between the 2 ladies with his arms extended, and then observed the Johnson, she's D in this case, the defendant, Johnson away. So witness 2 observed the father push Johnson away from Romika, while that doesn't make sense on that line. While Romika, unarmed, stood stationary with her arms crossed up across her chest. Minutes later, another witness on an eastbound bus that drove past saw this argument again between Johnson and Romika. She observed, and bus video captured, Romika and the father standing in the open driver's door area of Romika's Kia. At this time, this witness was walking east on Cermak, approaching State Street. This witness got out of the bus, walked across Cermak, and stood under the CTA green line stop near another witness. Those 2 witnesses also don't know any of the parties involved. They observed the father standing in between the 2 mothers, Johnson and Romika. They observed Johnson walk towards the driver's door of the Kia, standing in the threshold of the driver's door, with the father standing immediately outside of the driver's door.
I'm gonna pause right there because she had no business walking up there. If he pushed her away, go sit in your damn car. Matter of fact, start it up and leave. She didn't.
Johnson was standing on the sidewalk arguing with Romika. Another witness observed the father strike Romika.
Wow.
By repeatedly swinging the driver's door of the Kia closed on her.
You guys heard that? Carlos kept closing the door, striking Romika several times. I hope he is next as far as being charged, arrested, and no bond.
Another witness called 9 reported that the father had struck Romika multiple times with the car door. After her 911 call, Romika entered her car. After her 911 call, she entered her car. But 2 witnesses then observed Johnson approached Romika's car and heard Johnson making threats towards Romika. Another witness walked closer to the incident at this time. That person observed Romika exit the Kia, and when she did, observed the father approach Romika from behind and place her in a chokehold with his right arm while striking her with his left. This is hard to listen to because this is some acts of domestic violence here as well.
It is.
This witness observed Romika unarmed with her hands in the air trying to break free from the father's grasp. A witness heard Johnson make threats to shoot Romika and heard the father tell Romika that Johnson had a gun. Johnson then went to her vehicle, was observed by another witness retrieving a handgun and then standing on the sidewalk. The victim was able to break free from the father's hold and took steps away from Johnson as observed by another witness. That witness observed Johnson put her handgun at Romika, walked toward Romika, and then fired multiple times at her with a pause between the first shot and the subsequent shots. This witness had just turned to walk away when he heard, this is another witness, a gunshot, a pause, followed by 2 more gunshots. He looked toward the direction of the gunshots and observed the defendant holding a black handgun in her right hand. Romika was struck multiple times and collapsed. Another witness, 2 witnesses moved Romika's body and moved her slightly west.
I do have to pause. I am going to go ahead and put up the trigger warning. I'm over here tearing up. This is heartbreaking. 2 against 1. And as of right now, only 1 is locked up.
I guess she must have fallen into trap. That person then called 911 and reported that Johnson shot Romika and observed the father and Johnson fist bump one another afterwards. Officers arrived and observed that Johnson was unresponsive, unarmed, and laying in a pool of blood. On scene and covered in blood, Johnson was also on the scene and had blood on her. So the father had blood on him, Johnson had blood on her. Romika was transported to the hospital and pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Johnson was positively identified as the shooter. Johnson admitted to the shooting. From her Chevy, officers recovered a loaded 9mm handgun. Evidence techs processed the scene, recovering 3 spent shell casings. Ballistics analysis revealed that all 3 of those spent shell casings were fired from Johnson's firearm recovered from the Chevy. This is crazy. Johnson refused medical attention, was transported to the police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged that this was the first time. Listen to this, please. You don't hear nothing else I say. Listen, this is insane. And this is why you don't get caught up. And why I made my statement earlier about
no good niggas
not getting caught up in no mess. Does anybody know Carlos's last name? You guys keep putting that person in there.
Carlos Wayne. What she's going to say, because I did see the news story earlier, and we'll see how quickly she gets to this, but allegedly, this was the first time that Holly had ever physically seen Romika in person. How were you going to get restraining orders and everything else? Even on the restraining orders, it said that Romika had not committed any acts of violence against her. So yeah, I believe that she got those restraining orders because she knew what she wanted to do to her. And the first time that she saw her in person, she unalived her. So sad.
Who is Carlos in this case? You guys keep saying it. I want to repeat this last part. I just emailed because you guys asked about Carlos. I just emailed to find out if he's been charged.
Please let him be charged.
I'll have more to come on. I want to read this last part again because it's very important. Okay. Johnson refused medical attention, was transported to the police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged that this was the first time. So this is all fueled by what? If this is the first time she had ever seen Black men.
Ain't that something?
In person. Johnson did have a valid FOIA card and CCL at the time of the shooting.
Even that, in my opinion, was premeditated. Look, I know a lot of women carry, and if you don't, you should be. But I think her purpose, Holly's purpose of getting that was for this reason.
On background, she had some other run-ins with the law. One run-in on record. Again, Johnson refused medical attention, was transferred to police station where she claimed self-defense and acknowledged this was the first time she had ever seen the victim in person. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that is the most awful thing I've ever heard. So you claim this person has threatened you through people.
Right.
You've never seen them before in person. And why would you shoot them?
Yeah.
Why would you feel emboldened enough to shoot them?
Because she was threatened by Romika. Threatened as far as her presence. That's why.
That's troubling. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like that's troubling. And I pray that my 3-year-old daughter understands how important it is to love yourself, to not get caught up with no guys that's going to coerce you or influence your mind to do something stupid. And if you see signs of bullcrap, to get out of it. That's my prayer. And men too, got to do better. That's horrible. What would be your basis of shooting and killing somebody you ain't never even seen before, and they didn't have a gun? I don't know.
Jealousy.
Right. I appreciate you guys tuning in. More to come on Fox 32 at 4. I will post the story. I'm about to listen to the sound. Yes, and I mentioned that if you want to go back and watch this later, I mentioned that order of protection at the top of this when I first started this. That is part of this. She said the order of protection was put in place. She ordered for it to be put in place December 2024 because Johnson alleges that Romika threatened her through Johnson's family members. She never directly threatened her.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Also went on to say she had never, this was the first time she saw him in person when she pulled the trigger. Just want to put that out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. More stories.
Wow. First time she ever laid eyes on Romika, she took her life. This is heartbreaking. It really, really is. I think that a lot of people sometimes get pregnant on purpose when they think that they could possibly be locked up and all of that. And yeah, they don't care about that. They will let Holly deliver that baby right there in jail and ship that baby on to a family member is what I'm going to be claiming, because I'm claiming that Carlos will be locked up as well. So, it's sad and unfortunate. We know that Romika's son is without his mom. Holly's son right now is without his mom, and whatever the sex is of the baby that she's carrying will be without mom. Karma spent the block. Now, Karma spent that block 3 months late, but it spent it. Okay. And I'm so glad that it did. She is again being held without a bond. I will be back with you guys. Like I said, we'll go live in the next couple days. I'll also keep you updated on this. As I stated before, and as I will continue to state, rest in peace to Romika Meeks Blackman. Prayers going up to her son, prayers going up to her family. And I hope that Tia comes back with us with this news, because she said that she sent an email to see if Carlos has been charged. And it looks like, and let's put it in the atmosphere, that he will. So again, thank you guys for joining me for this video. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Share this video with your friends and family. Make sure you like the video, hype the video, all of the above. Rest in peace again to Romika Meeks. I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.
Chit chat with QT. Chit chat with QT. Chit chat, chit chat, chit chat with QT. Chit chat with QT.
Chit chat with QT. Chit chat, chit chat, chit chat with QT.